Tonight, we're one step closer to some new laws following a year-long investigation series from the ABC 15 investigators. Joe Ducey focusing on our probate court system and Valley families who claim their loved ones were driven to financial ruin. Tonight, he has more on our legislature plans to fix the problems he exposed.
Brad Lund is in the middle of a probate court battle in Maricopa County.
We're fighting back. We're fighting for our son's rights.
Brad's parents, Sherry and Bill, are fighting distant relatives who are trying to declare Brad incapacitated and take control of his money. And Brad has a lot of it. He's the grandson of Walt Disney.
I'm angry. Our lives have been devastated. The stress has been immense.
The Lunds hired several attorneys to help Brad keep his money and continue living on his own. One of those attorneys is Joel Sanis.
All right.
On this day, Sanis found himself at the center of the probate court controversy.
Let's get a deputy. I'm going to need an order of confinement.
This is video of a judge ordering Sanis arrested for contempt of court. Sanis refused to answer a judge's questions, claiming attorney-client privilege. A sheriff's deputy handcuffed him and took him to a holding cell.
I've never been subject to any proceedings like this before. It was highly unusual.
Brad has spent about $1 million trying to stay out of probate court. In addition to attorneys such as Joel Sanis, his family hired former state legislator turned lobbyist Laura Knaperek to try and change state law.
It just appears that the court is a rubber stamp, that there really is no accountability there, that they're not holding folks accountable.
Knaperek's goal is to stop what she calls rampant financial exploitation and abuse of vulnerable adults.
They're taking all their money and they're left with nothing in their estates, and the state then has to take care of these folks. The reality is the probate court is not doing its job.
Over the last 8 months, the ABC 15 investigators have focused on probate court and cases where judges appointed guardian companies to care for incapacitated adults. We expose problems that are now addressed in a reform bill before the legislature. The bill would require companies to follow the family's wishes, something we found routinely does not occur.
None was treated better than I am. I never had this in my life.
Not charge excessive fees, like in the case of a woman whose guardian spent thousands of dollars of her money for stuffed animals.
My mother would spit in their face if she knew she paid for this stuff.
And budget for future expenses, which didn't happen with one woman. We found her guardian spent more than $1 million of her money in less than 3 years, leaving her a ward of the state.
Hopefully there will be an opportunity to make some change, some real change.
State Representative David Smith of Cave Creek is sponsoring the bill, which has now made it halfway through the legislature.
We're not here to criticize anybody or put the blame on anybody. What we're here to do is to make the system better.
A system Joel Sanis calls flawed.
I think it says something about the probate process.
Sanis spoke with us after his release.
I was taken outside the courtroom, put into a holding cell on my own, and treated as any person who would be put in a holding cell would be treated. I had to give my belt, had to give my shoelaces, had to give my tie. I was embarrassed to have been put in handcuffs.
Brad has not been ruled incapacitated pending another doctor's evaluation. There's another bill also aimed at reforming probate court. It requires a list of charges and fees up front before a judge rules on guardianship. Sponsors of both bills want to combine them. To see all our previous investigative reports on probate court, go to abc15.com to the News tab and Investigators. I'm Investigator Joe Ducey, ABC 15 News.